Hey everyone, let me get this figured out here. There we go. You guys see down here. Alright. Let me turn these down a little bit. Alright, so today we are taking forks, and I've cut them off already. So we just took a fork, cut the end off of it. It's about halfway or just over halfway up the fork bowl here. Then I put it to my belt sander, smoothed out all of this so it's nice and clean, nice clean edge, rounded off the corners so there's nothing hard, and I've taken and made the loop. I'll take you guys and show you that. It looks like my screen is blurry. I doubt it's me or the glasses. Oh, I think it's the glasses. That's better. Okay. So I make the ring out of one of the fork tines, and then I bend these up, and eventually we'll get to this. So I left two so that I could show you guys. The rest of them I've got prepped. This was the first one I got done. I was just starting to do some cleanup on it. That's bright. That's better. Okay. So I'm going to adjust the over here. Sweet. That's cool. I just got a new tripod, so I'm still trying to figure out where it needs to be so you can see me and what I'm doing. The chat is on, I believe. Okay. So this is my Harbor Press from Harbor Freight, the Bender Press bar. Always got to check that. So what I'm doing is, this is the second smallest bar here in the shallowest channel. I've abused these a little bit, but this is the shallowest channel here. We just want to kind of bend this down. Now the fork has a normal curve to it, so that's the side that you want to bend because it's going to bend easiest that way. Will it let me zoom? It will! Awesome. Okay. So I'm getting just enough to bite back here. So I give it a little bend there. So right now we're like that. I want to turn it back towards me and get it kind of centered in the middle there. So I'm actually bending the fork and not the tines. So now I've got it a little bit rounded. Put my big gut. Actually, let me get this other one done. Right, there it is. put my big bar back in. So I'm just taking my fork tine bender, just gonna grab this guy here, and I'm just gonna bend it over to where I get it curved. I'm just gonna bend it down. I'll tap it on my hammer. I'll go back a little bit. And there's our ring shank made. So that's the start. I'm just bending it over enough to get enough to bend that with the hammer. This is going to move and change as we bend the tines and stuff, so we're going to have to revisit the shank part anyways. So from here, I just put it in with the base here on the bottom, which pops up these guys off of the bar. Just a little bit of pressure. Work that in there all the way to the back. Right up. No tool marks from having to bend it with your pliers. Just a little bit more. And there we go. It doesn't have to be pretty from that point, because we're just gonna bend everything up. Can you guys see any comments? Or say hi, just so I can see if it's working. There's the last one. That's cool. I'm glad that works. So change. Okay. So I've taken these two pieces of so it says the chat's working. So I've taken these two pieces of 3/4 inch plywood, and I've made them big enough to fit in my block. They fit in the base. So my base here, these guys fit on. So I don't have to hold up the pieces. You can make them go all the way across if you want to. I just used what I had lying around in the shop. I'm going to take my ring shank, I'll put it in here. Let's try one that's not mostly done. I want enough of the shank inside the wood, but I still want to be able to get to the tines. So we're going to bring that out just a touch. And this side's a little bit higher. So I'm just going to tap down on it as I'm tightening. There we go. That helped a little bit. So we're making curly rings. I forget what they're called. See, and I can't get my bar in there, so I'm going to move this up just a touch. Just enough to get my bar in. Then I'll go ahead and lower it back down. Can you guys hear me okay? going to start with the front one here. It's generally where I start. Just randomize your bends, even if you do the same bend, it's always going to come out a little different. I like to just make a little stagger here. So once we get to this point, can't really see that yet. I'm going to come right here to the edge, and then just a little bit higher. So I don't have to go over there anymore. I'm going to lower you guys down. Still trying to figure out this new stand. That's better. You guys can see that, right? Okay. I still can't see any chat, so I'm hoping that I'm not missing anything. Okay, so we're here. We've got this kind of zigzag going up. Let me get my smaller pliers. I'm just going to tap this down nice and light. I'm going to go to the bottom row. So you want to kind of bend it down and then over, because we're going to twist this. So these are just my flat nose pliers, kind of rounded the edges off. So I've got it going down now. Bring this around. So I'm going to be adding crystals to these two. So I'm going to leave this up just a little bit so I can get one of the rivets in there. So now we can get the other two bent. I'll probably make, I have just got some acrylic, 1-inch acrylic. It's really thick. I'll probably make some blocks out of that for this. We'll see how that works. It might be too hard. Okay, second one. I always like to close the loops on these two so they're not going to catch on. We're going to make this guy a long one. So I'm going to bring it way over here. Give that up. And down here. Bend this over. Tighten this guy up a little bit. So you want to be careful when you're bending these when they're over, because you don't want to scratch this up. Try and get the light worked out here for you. Okay, that's better. Live chat, all messages visible. So I'm going to bring this around a little bit, and it's actually going to be short. Okay, before you get this one down too much, you want to make sure you get this guy bent and out of the way. Right over the top. Sometimes if it does that, where it doesn't quite round, because it's a ring and it's going to be all curly Q anyways, just tap that down. Slide it past that one. I'm going to bring it out. And then we're going to fold it over. Got my flat pliers. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm pretty soft spoken most of the time, so sometimes it can be hard. And a lot of it's going from just one little problem or snag to another one. That's why they all turn out different. So I'm going to open this guy up. There we go. Come on. I want you over here. There we go. Oh, close this back up. Hi Elizabeth. Yay, the chat's working. Alright. I was worried there for a second. Okay, now let's hammer this guy. So we're definitely going to have to do some cleanup on this one. I think, kind of like that right about there. Just want to squeeze it together. So that's that. I'm going to do some cleanup. See if I can adjust that so you guys can still see and I can see. I'm going to take my Dremel, Dremel tool. This is a nail drill. If you look up thin nail drill on eBay, it should come up. The ones with this handle, I get this question asked a lot, so I'll just mention it here. This handle that has these little grooves on it, it's just a quick release. Some of them with the blue one that comes with them, you have to push them in and then yank them out, and that's what I started with this thing. But try and find this handpiece. One of my other videos talks about it, numbers and everything, but this is what I look for on eBay. This is the second hand piece for this nail drill. I've had this 5 years maybe. Yeah, the other hand piece died, so I got this one. But it allows you to change directions, and you can increase your speed from 1 to 8. So I normally run it about a 5. I'm going to go down to a 4 for the rings. I have a lot of marks on that last one, so I'm just going to take this real lightly, try to blend those down. We don't want any sharp spots. Yeah, I think that acrylic glass might work a little bit better because it will get me off of this this grabber part, because these are flush with it. Should have given it a little bit more space, but I get marks on the bottom sometimes, like I just did with this one. So there's a mark on that one. And if you can't get to the area, I will use diamond bits. And all the bits for this is, just make sure I didn't miss any chats. Hi Zach, sorry I missed your comment. Just do a quick change here. I'm going to switch to a small little rounded diamond bit. Just kind of get in those tighter areas. Just get the edges off of there. I try and do this without too many tool marks. It saves a lot of time, but sometimes the ring just wants to be difficult. Just a little mark on the first one. Even though those snap ring pliers are rounded, you'll still get little divots, pressure marks from where they grab. Okay, that feels good. So these are all going through the tumbler, but the tumbler can't get in real tight because the media won't fit inside some of these spots. So I'm going to use, actually I'm going to use the 320 sanding disc. These are just kind of a flexible material. You always just want to make sure that it's going the right way, and that is the wrong way. Turn this around. That's better. Never mind, I did have it going right. It should be nice and smooth. If it's jumping around on your work, it's definitely going the wrong way. So now I'm just trying to blend our sanding marks into the areas around it. I'm gonna crank this up. So I'm at a 6 right now. Changing your angle a lot of times will help you get some different marks that you don't quite see. So I've still got a pretty good chunk right there. Got a sharp spot right there. Alright, so we're going to go back to my drum sander here. This is 120 grit. Drop back down to a 4. Just using the very tip to just try and get those spots. And I'm trying to blend in as I go. Because I don't want tool marks to really show. Okay, and that sharp edge is done. Alright. We're going to drop down. I think it was at 320. Let's go to 220 first, and then we'll jump up. Back up to 6. So that's not looking too bad. We're going to jump up to 600 grit. The purple one. And this is going to start to really bring out a shine. Still, we're trying to blend everything together. Okay. Getting happier. Avoiding tool marks saves so much of your time with this, but sometimes they just don't cooperate. Feels clean, looks clean. I just found a rough spot with my thumb. So I always go over the whole thing with my fingers to try and make sure that there's nothing sharp or edgy. So I'm going to put this to my buffer real quick. This is my red rouge wheel. I'm just going to hold my breath for a second, try and see if I can shine this up a little bit. I use Dawn dish soap in my tumbler, and any of this grease that's left on there or in those tight little nooks that you can't really get to, the Dawn takes that right out. If you have a steamer, the steamer will work, but I don't have that or room. So here's what we got. I'll just put that there. All these tips are up or able to have a little crystal go in them whenever I squish the crystal in. So this is the closest one I have done. So we'll just finish this guy off. Put this back in my spot here. Raise this up just a touch. Okay. All solid. So I get my crystals. They're actually crystal rivets. See if I can show you this. So I have the bases here, and then the rivets themselves are here. So we're gonna go for this up here is kind of my leftover pile. So whatever we choose is what we get. So here's a little pink opal one. It's really hard to see. Is this one too big? I like to use the big crystals on these, but I ran out. So this hole here, come on, clean up. This hole right here is too big, so I'm going to just take my small pliers. I'm just going to close that up a little bit. That should be about okay. So now I have a good seat right there. I'm going to put this guy on the bottom. I have to take this out of here. Close that up before I knock it over. Just a touch. That in there. This guy. So I have a little bit, not quite enough room to get the base on there and this. So I'm going to put the base on first and then try and capture it. Almost at it. My fingers are too big. Okay, so I have it pressed there. And up. So normally I would take and put the crystal on a piece of leather and then tap it down. But this one I have to get squished first. So I have another piece of leather here, and I'm going to take my flat pliers and we'll put the leather over the top. So the crystal side gets the leather. Take my flat nose pliers, and we're going to start it right here. And just squish it down. And hopefully you don't hear crack. Try and get the base as flat as you can. And always check it to make sure that it's really crushed on there. Okay. Now that we have that in, got our crystal in there. I'm going to get this all the way down as low as I can get it on here, and I'm going to tap it down gently. So I'm switching over to my rubber side, trying not to hurt the crystal. So that is down all the way. Not quite all the way. So, metal ball peen hammer, thickest part of my leather, I'm just going to tap gently. Okay, that feels better. Yeah, so we're all the way down here now, right there. You can see there's a little bit of movement, but that is definitely not coming apart. And don't want to hit it too much harder. Actually, if I go at an angle this way, I might be able to get it. So I need to hit this at the front edge. I think that's about where it wants to be. There we go. If I go any more, I'm afraid I'll break the crystal. So we'll go to our next crystal. Let's do something a little brighter. There's a nice green one. There we go. We'll do this green one. So I think I'm going to leave this one where it is without a stone, and I'm going to put a stone crystal here. So I know for a fact that this one is too open. So I'll try closing it up a little bit. So I've got that closed more. I'm taking this right now to just kind of bring this together. Still no edges. I've got our... It's funny, I thought I had a green one, but I actually have two bases. That's funny. How did it roll off? Can you guys see it? Alright. There's my green one. That's not it. Alright, so I have a ton of whatever color this is. It's kind of a reddish. Back up. Okay, so we're going to go for red. It does not fit, the hole is too small. Just kind of all this in there, make sure you don't scratch the bottom. There we go. Nice fit now. Get our bottom put on there. So that's the base. Sorry I don't have any music in the background. Yeah. I'm not sure what's copyrighted and not, and I don't want this to get pulled. Let's see if I can grab that with my needle nose. I was able to get it, but couldn't get it on there. There we go. Do what I want you to do. So close. Let's try this backwards. I'm going to try and put cap base in here. Fingers are too big. Okay, so I have the base in. No. Had the base in. Okay, so I've just got this wedged in there. Keep the base from falling out. Come on. Fingers big. this just does not want to cooperate. Oh, my hole squeezed back together. That's why it didn't go in. Just open that up a little bit. All right, let's try the base again. Get in your home. I want you right there. Thank you. Flatten those pliers. So close. There we go. So I felt them click together. So I'm going to take some leather for the top. Change my angle here so I can get this other side clipped down. Alright, everything feels tight. Gotta keep the leather stuck in there. There we go. Nice and tight. So now we're going to put this guy down. Go for my thicker piece here. I'm trying not to hit on the crystal itself. I just want to get this edge down. We have a little bit more cleanup to do, but there's our ring. So we go that way, or we go this way. So what I'll do now is get my ring mandrel. So this one's at an 8 right now. Just gonna round that over just a little bit. So we're at a 7 there. Now, depending on the length of the tines, it's going to depend on how big you can get this ring. So most of these were long dinner forks. So pretty long tines. What will happen as you go bigger is you'll get a bigger gap. And if the gap gets too wide, it really wants to stick on your finger, or your finger will get pushed up through it. So you just want to make sure that these are smooth, just in case that happens. They catch it on something and then it will pinch into their skin. Back down to 4. I'm just going to touch the edges. That's really all it takes. Go up to 1,000. Just clean up any of those little marks that we may still see. You want them to show up or be nice and bright. I try not to grind on them too much with the heavy disc because you'll take off the plate, and sometimes the silver plating, there's a lot of copper or brass underneath it, and you'll get that showing instead of a silver color. Quick on my white buffer. And that happens. Hopefully when that happens, nothing breaks for you. Nice, bright, shiny. We got our 2 crystals in there. So what I like to do is I'll make a bunch of these at one time. So I can go through the whole process and not have to worry about my doing everything over and over and over again. I can just go through the whole motions and get all of these done to the same spot. So I'll get them all to this point where they need cleaned up, and then I'll go through and I'll put the crystals in each one and do the final. And I'll toss these in the tumbler. A lot of times I'll toss them in the tumbler just like this before the crystals go in. I have had a couple of the crystals come out, but very, very, very few. And I think I had one of the oldest ones I had, the silver plate that's holding this in, the little lip, got worn off and showed the brass or copper underneath. But this, ready for the tumbler. This one, after I clean it up, I'll toss in the tumbler, and these other ones will go in the tumbler as well. So I'll make this for today. I have a couple for an order that I need to ship out. But those of us that joined, or those of you that joined us late, we took a regular fork. Cut off the head, rounded this off, made the ring shank, and then now we're at the point where we're starting to bend tines. Alright, let's hope that the next one goes a little easier. Sometimes you can just get in a routine and those aren't coming up. Okay. The messages. Okay. Thank you. I really like these rings. It's been probably about a year since I made the last ones. So this one is, these tines need to come up a little bit more so that I can get the ring to sit flush. Alright, so let's try this again. If we can keep from getting tool marks on here, or as many tool marks. I know we want a crystal in this one, so we'll make this a smaller one. Squish this. So sometimes if it gets not caught, but it kind of gets at a weird angle, I'll take and put it on my board here, and I'll hit it from the top. It's harder to do with the center one, but these outer ones, you can do it too. So I'm hitting the ring itself here. There you go, and I got that to flatten out. So I took care of that problem. Now I can take my flat nose pliers and bring this right up. Yeah, we'll use these. See if I can bring it up this way first. There we go. So I just use my round nose pliers to kind of prop it up. So we can put our crystal in there. Alright, on to the next one. So this guy is underneath the edge of this. So I'm just going to bring it over a little bit. Bring it up. See how far we can get this one to go over. We'll roll everything back this way. Check the messages. Okay. So I have this big edge. I'm just using the big part of the pliers around it to just kind of shrink it down. Okay, from there, try and get this to start rotating. Flat pliers to the rescue. Got a pretty good mark there, so I'm going to get it before I get it put down. Kind of like cooking, clean as you go. Tap this one back a little bit. I want it to kind of curl up this way more. I'm going to hold on to this fork tine. I'm going to pull it towards me so that I can hit here and have some tension against it. There we go. And this seated nice, so I'm just going to set it now. And because I have it hanging over the edge, I don't have to worry about whether or not I can get a crystal in there. And this one might just stay. You can already see the design change, and every one is different. It depends a lot on the forks if you're going to be able to get anything close or not. And even some of the same forks I can't get to make the same pattern, even when I try. So this one I might try and curl up into here. See how tight we can get this. I get my bend started, and then I'll go to this guy. We're going to go this way with it. Get the whole thing. Bring it over. Gonna go through the middle. Try and pop this up a little bit. This one isn't getting a stone, so we can set it. Alright. So there we have our swirly there. So the ring will sit either like this or like that. On the mandrel, this one is at a 7.5, but if you notice I have a lot more time left. Keep that 20 down. This one can pretty easily go to, if I can find my marks, 12, 11, 10. It's about a 9 right now with not too bad of a gap. If you go bigger than that, say to like that big of a gap, you'll end up with your finger coming through, and it really can pinch, and we don't want that. Right there we're at 8. Yep, my pinky's a 7, so that's pretty easy. And this is ready for cleanup. I only see one little sharp edge there. Maybe 2 little tool marks. So that's not bad. I need light for this one. Those dimples you get, you just want to blend them in. There's a sharp spot here. Throw that in there, and this time I'm just going to go right up to a 400. So the media, the stainless steel shot in the tumbler will take off some of the marks, or round them out anyways. It won't really take off marks. Alright, so we actually have our ring done so much faster than the last one. Alright, so this one, I want to lift this up just a touch more. So what's happening is I'm making this gap right here. No, right here. This gap. Everything's backwards. This gap right here. Oh, this gap. I want to open that up so that I can get my crystal rivet in there. Make it just a touch smaller. Okay, so this is ready for the tumbler. I don't like that the chat doesn't just show up. There we go. Okay, let me see if I can adjust you guys here and get you in a better spot for lighting. Looks a little better. How's that look? I think that might work a little better. So we'll start the next one. Start it elevated a little bit. Who's making that? That's funny. So right now it's basically dark in here compared to what I'm used to. So we're going to raise these up. So this one, the tines are thicker. So I can tell already this one's going to give me more troubles. That's probably why it got grainy too. Put on that one. Didn't really do anything, but at least you guys can see now. So let's see how this works. Let's see if I can see the comments. I wish it would stay up. Alright, here we go. Let's try it again. So because it's thicker, I'm going to give some more room on this end. Round it over. And this one I'm going to take and just keep rounding. Yeah, this one we're just going to make a curly Q. Yeah, that looks a little better for the bending part. Tap this down. Gonna take and pull. What I have to do to get the chat to come up. Oh, so what I'm doing here is I'm pulling up on this piece here. So I'm gonna put my pliers in here. I'm just gonna rotate, just gonna lift it up. Because this one isn't getting a crystal, I can go ahead and set it now. So I'm just gonna take my leather. There we go. Take my pliers here. I'm gonna bend this up just a little bit more. I like that better. So we've got this flatter. Here. Sorry about that, I lost you. I wonder if this will work if I shut this off. Put this guy. Let's see if that sticks up there. So we're just going to start rolling this again. This one is getting a crystal, so I want to make sure that I get it small enough, or to where it can be made smaller. That's probably good. Down. There again. And this one I want to bend towards me because there's a lot of room right here. So I'm going to grab it at the bend, this bottom bend here. I'm going to swing it towards you, and then I'm going to pull it from the top down towards me. So this base is touching now. I have my little piece up here. So you can see I have it risen up here. So whenever we go to put our crystal in, then we'll hammer it down and it will end up being right there. Now this one, I think I might just make this one decorative too, but I want to bring it up to kind of hide this. wonder if I do this vertical, if I can see the chat. Okay, so that one's set. So this one, I need to make this turn this way towards me without it breaking right here. So I need to go up with it. So because I'm making a hard turn, I'm going to make sure that I'm not tight up against it. So I'm not right up against it. I'm going to pull it back a little bit. Give myself some working room. Up. Bring this towards you. If I can. Up towards the top. How long do I have? I'm going to make a little tiny cube, or a little tiny swirl in the end. Hammer this down. I'm using the back of the pliers here. Using the back of the pliers back here to try and get this to squish down. There we go. Got it squished down. Back in here. That is doing something. Alright, now we're going to grab these. I want to bring this, grab as much as I can of this time here. And bring it up a little bit. There we go. So now I have it up off the base. Some room down in here. I'm going to get to this curly cue or this corner, and I'm going to put my base on the base of this turn, and I'm going to go almost all the way to the top of this end. And I'm going to just curl it over to where I want it to sit. So there, set. This hole is too small to put a rivet in, so So we're going to go ahead and set this right now. So we have this big loop end here. So I'm trying to straighten the ring out a little bit. So let's go ahead and set this. Again, I'm going right here on the corner. And right now I have this whole edge, this whole seam right here is all on the ring, all on the shank, or the top. So here's what we're looking at. So this one's getting a crystal rivet. Something different. I think someone will like it. No problem. I wish the chat would let me see the chat as it was happening. This is my little dollar store light. I bought it for some of the shows, just kind of display stuff, and then all our shows got canceled for the year, so I get to use it here. As far as tool marks go, I do have some marks on here. So real quickly, just buzz these out. And basically, I'm looking for shiny spots. What you're going to see is a shiny spot. If you see a shiny spot, it needs to be smoothed out. And like I said, I'm just going real lightly with these. Always check it with your finger. You can't see it, but there's a hard edge right here. And amazingly enough, there's not that many tool marks. This one there. I don't know how long it's been since I've been live on Facebook or on YouTube. We do a show every Wednesday. Every other Wednesday is Instagram, and when we're not on Instagram, whatever Wednesday that is, we're on Facebook. So we try and still try and have shows, but they're just now in our home, and depending on how many people come out and are buying stuff, we're generally on for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. My wife takes care of all of that. I become the cameraman. She has a lot of fun with it. I went too high. So if you are trying to clean up your marks and it doesn't dropping down your grits. I think I figured it out. I gotta swipe all the way over here to get it to come up. I was doing more in the middle. There we go. You can really see when it starts to take out those sander marks. Sometimes you can get away with the marks just with these guys. If they're really, really light marks. I haven't tried the rubber bullet type ones. I have some second-hand ones that I got from a guy at a show. He was a silversmith, and he used them, and I used those on one of my sterling pieces. Actually, I used it on my ring too. So we still have to close up the bevel edges, or these pieces, but I open it up so I can kind of reposition the stone. So this is labradorite. There we go. So this was made from a spoon, was the base. I put some holes in there, cut out a little mark, and then gallery wire, and then the shank is actually 4 fork tines. I've been working on this video for a while, but I wanted to just kind of tweak this back over. See, there's a bigger gap, so it just needs, the stone needs kind of just switched over a little bit. But that was a fun one. So here's where we're at with all the lights on. And this is pretty much smoothed out. This can go right into the tumbler, and you have a new design. And so that's the flat spot. So you can see that's just where the shank bends. So there's just a little spot there. And get this set on the mandrel, so that spot's too wide. So this guy looks like he wants to be about a 7. Or maybe a 5 or 6. So that's a 5 right there, and you can see the gap that we have. It's not super big, but that's about as far as I would want to take it. There we go. That's better. And you see how this is way out of line? Whenever we come back to it after it comes out of the tumbler, we'll take and straighten those up. You can kind of see how it's down. The way we'll fix that is by clamping on the shank here, going over here. See if I can do this for you guys. And then we're turning the ring. So if you can't get it really straight, toss it back in your block. And you can just tap it. Nice and straight. So this one will probably end up being a 5, like I said. It'll open back up pretty big on me. So we might be able to get this at a 6 where it's comfortable. Well, that's 6.5. I'm happy with that. 6.5. There we go. Yep, I figured it out. So we have to clean this one up still. I was gonna make a bud vase to guys want to see that? Put everything together, because the rest is just tedious doing the same thing over and over and over again for the rings. That's not the right box. That's the right box. It's all a puzzle. So this is my miscellaneous bags. These are all hollow handled knife pieces. I'll just take a little easy guy. Put that right there. So this has just been cut off from I will eventually get the lighting figured out on this thing. So it's just rough. You can still see the saw marks from the bandsaw. This end was just as it was when it came off the knife. So what I have to do is I want to sand this down, and I'm going to sand this end just smooth. Move this. Get you guys over here. There we go. So I'm just going to make it flush. Sorry about the noise. So now we're nice and clean. Nice clean surfaces. Just double check this on here. It's standing nice and level. Let me grab a spoon. We'll use this guy. And I actually have to put you back on the tripod because I don't think you can see from there over to. Okay, I can. I'll switch to the camera. Hello. Okay. Yeah, you can see that. So with, oh no, I don't have to change it. Awesome. On the new press bar, 3D bar from Flatware, we have this round plate on here that will help us flatten our bowls. I just want to zoom in for you. So this block here is what comes with it. It's a stainless steel block. I had this one that I've been using for a while, and it's a lot wider. So I'll take my spoons, put them on here. You don't want your tip to go off the spoon or off the base, because you'll get a flat spot and mark in here. So I'll go in until it gets almost to that edge, and I want to press down from the back. There's one drop, bend my handle down, second drop. Flat. That little bump that you see, that can be taken out here. There we go. Actually, I should have kept you over there because we have to bend the handle still. Back to the bar we go. So I'm going to use the second block, or the second piece. Actually, we're going to use the mini pin. And I want this side to come out, so I'm going to start with the back side. Let me just polish this up real quick. Okay. Once it gets in the tumbler, it will clean up, but the tumbler makes tarnish, shiny tarnish, and we don't want that. So we can do that real quick. Perfect. So that's our middle pin. This is going to be like our handle. Let's put it back to the mini pin. And how do I want to do this? Let's just make it easy. So we're left with this. So what I'm going to do now is just put this in my hand, put my finger here, and I'm just going to bend the spoon over. So I'm making a crimp right here until we get the shape we want. Now we can come back over here. It's kind of a weird shape. It's interesting. I wonder if we put another little kink right here, if I can get that part to solder up. I don't know, it's kind of cute. That's cute. We'll do it like that. So, see this rolling here? There we go. So, good thing there's sunlight outside coming in through the window. So you kind of see how this is rocking. We want to take that rock out. So here's what I do. I take my brown board and I'll put this upside down like this, And because this is the base, it doesn't need to be super pretty. So I'll take my smooth hammer, and these edges right around the edge, there's still a bowl shape to those. So I'm just gonna there. Now it's the base. It's this piece right here that's keeping it up. I don't know if I can get that. It's always got to be something. Let's flatten that back out. Still wobbly, but because this base is up, it's definitely a lot better. Okay, we'll work with that. On the fire brick. Got this guy. Don't like that. That's better. Okay. So same thing with this guy. It's still tarnished from being heated up. So we're just gonna buff that real quick. Alright. I try and get it to sit as flat as possible. What I like to use here, you can go you can go a ton of routes, but I normally will use the rosin core. It's lead free. I'll normally use that, but I have this Alpha Fry Water Flow 2000 water soluble paste flux. You can find it on Amazon and other places. This is lead-free solder wire. I think I got it for 99 cents at Hobby Lobby, I think. So beforehand, generally, I will take and cut these into just little bits. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to just kind of dip it in here. I just want to get on my surface, and then we're going to put it right where we want it on here, right about there. There's 3 of those. I want a couple more. It doesn't take a lot. Maybe one more. So I'll show you this with the little torch. A lot of times I've started using my bigger torch. What did it do? I wonder if I left it outside last night. I use it to start fire. Fuel. And this is why people with ADD don't get anything done. So I get to search for fluid for that. Should have a bottle. Hiding right up here. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, I don't think this flame's gonna cut it. No. Any comments? No. I will be right back. 2 seconds. Whew, I made it. So we'll just get our whole piece here. Let's zoom in on there for you. So I'm looking for bubbling out the bottom. You should start to see a silver line show up. Make sure you get it nice and even all the way around. I like to go spray right down the top on the inside first. That lets me know that my inside is watertight. Just give that a minute to cool down. I normally have my big tote with water, but it has evaporated on me. We'll get our stuff put away. We have a ton of stuff to make. There we go. Easy bud race. Nice good weld. We'll toss that in the tumbler too. Well, thank you guys for joining me. This is an hour and 12-minute video. I hope that you guys all have a great day. Thanks for coming. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments or send me a message. We're on Facebook, or not Facebook. We're Flatware Creations with 2 S's on Facebook, Instagram. We're also on Etsy. We have our own .com, just flatwarecreations.com, and you can see some of the other work we do. Also, you can message us on any of those platforms. And remember, Wednesdays we're always live. So I think that's about it. Hope you guys had fun, and I will see you next time. Keep making.